Okay, number 9. The thing we love about the ninth team in the final 2021 rankings is BYU's back row defense and defensive positioning. So we're going to watch a little video here from their Sweet 16 match against Purdue. And Heather, we've always been impressed with how disciplined your middles are at staying middle, and your wing defenders are kind of at being in the right spots.
Yeah, I think the biggest principle for us is we just want to put our defenders where most balls are going to go. And sometimes it's team dependent, but we've got to be able to pull our toolbox defensive tools out of our belt. And so you saw turn and run. What's this one? Yeah, so being stopped and balanced and being able to turn and run or react to what you see is super important for us. So we like the middle defensive starting point from there. And we want our kids to read and react to what they see and be able to use the right skill, whether it's a forearm dig, a sprawl, a pancake, or a fist, tomahawk chuck. They've got to be able to pull the right tool out of their belt from being in middle and seeing the game from there.
We get this question a lot, and we can talk about this after I show another little video clip. But how do you answer this question? Because we get it a lot. You probably get it a lot. The defender asks, well, shouldn't I move because the block isn't there, or there's a hole in the block, or there's only one blocker, or the hitter's huge, right? How do you answer those types of questions?
Yeah, the last thing for us to go up, because we do swing block, is going to be the block. So sure, the block's not there till it is, and it's going to be the very last thing that gets thrown across the net. So we're touching quite a few balls, over 50% around of the balls of our opponents are going to hit our block. So our defenders need to know that, and we're working on that right now, being able to see what maybe you can call the second line of attack. So the first line is off the hand. If it doesn't hit the block, then what you see is what you know, and go dig the ball. But a lot of balls in our gym are going to hit our block in practice and opponents. And so they've got to be able to dig that ball off the second line of attack, which is off a block. So we're not chasing holes. We're not guessing. We're reacting to what we see and what we know, and using the appropriate defensive skill to dig the ball up.
Okay, I'm going to show about a 75-second clip here from GMS Plus. It's with Heather. We spent some time with Heather a couple years ago, and she taught us about her middle back box. And so let's watch this real quick from GMS Plus.
From younger defenders that come into our program is a lot of movement, a lot of maybe chasing the ball around. And so we like to give them some visuals and put them in a little bit of a box when they first get here, so they can understand what middle looks like and what 2x2 looks like. And we'd like them just to be stopped and to see the setter and face where the attack's coming from. So we want them to turn and face the hitter, and then we want them to get a good read from there. And so what they see is what they know, and they can go react to what's actually happening instead of making guesses of where they think the ball is going to go or chasing holes. We're not interested in chasing holes or filling in holes. We want our defense to be set up around our swing block. We've got our defenders where most balls go, and then they're going to make good reads from there. They're allowed to make reads and make the best play they can on the ball possible. So we like the box. Our players like it, and they tend to be more calm and stopped throughout their careers when we're able to give them some visuals in practice.
So this is my box, and I got this box when I was a freshman, and it really helped me just to stay in one place, stay calm, and just take one step towards whatever hitter I was defending. And I found that giving me a visual really allowed me to learn how to stay put and wait for the ball and then react to it.
Like Mary Lake, my players love the box. In fact, so much so that if there's a practice that I forget to put it up, they say, Dave, where's the box?
Yeah, I think it's just a good visual. Like I said, obviously there's no box in a match. We get that. We know that. But when you're teaching young players, and obviously even collegiate athletes for us, it's a good visual after practice, during practice. They sometimes aren't aware of how much they're moving defensively. And we want to be stopped. We want to be balanced, and we want to dig the ball. And so we've got to know what our body's doing and feel it. Sometimes seeing it is the right way to go. And then maybe you don't use the tape or the box for forever, but our kids like it. We like it. Allows us to give immediate feedback and get them to just be stopped and be calm and balanced.
One thing that Mike and I are really going to spend a lot of time looking at over the next couple months is when is it appropriate to shift out of that middle spot? You mentioned opponent tendencies, and how do you come to that conclusion?
Yeah, I think when you figure out that's where most balls are going. So I think even for our team, you've seen a tendency over the past couple years for us to rotate out of system. You'll see a lot of teams across the country just automatically go into a rotation defense where middle back rotates a step or two to their right, or they can rotate to their left depending on what their opponents are doing out of system. So I think you've got to have a good feel for who you're playing and where they're going to put balls out of system, in system. And I think it's appropriate to put your defender where most balls are going to be. And that's up to you as a staff to figure that out.
Jalen or Luca, you have lots of experience coaching men recently. Is the box different in the men's game?
I think, yeah, it's
Deeper.
power versus depth. Guys are hitting the ball harder. So you probably adjust a step back, but not much more than that. That's for sure the case. Just another thing, going off Heather a little bit. When we are studying the opponents, we're really thinking of, okay, what is something that certain player does so exceptionally well, and she or he's so efficient at it that we have to make an adjustment with our defensive setup. So I think we spent with USA or NC State, or I'm bet everything I have with BYU, that they spend more than 90% of the time in their default. That means middle is going to stay middle, and right back is going to be a certain spot, and left back is going to be a certain spot. And they will adjust and adapt only when they know this girl will tip here, so we're going to play for a tip. Or this girl, she can only hit cross or sharp cross and maybe in line with the corner, so we make an adjustment with our middle. But otherwise, we're going to really fight not to do that and making sure that we're stopped and we're reading and making defensive moves based on our read. But we would adjust only when somebody, again, is doing something exceptionally well. That means a lot and super efficient. That's when you need to make an adjustment. Otherwise, you're going to lose quite a few points. So that's just something to add. But yes, box will change, depends on the level and power of the game.
Heather, how big is that box?
Yeah, I think you saw Mary turn and face. So from her foot to foot, somewhere where they can turn and face and still be inside that box. I don't know, maybe 3 feet by 2 feet, 3 feet by 3 feet. Just depends on how much you want them to move. I wouldn't make it too small, but so their feet can fit in the box when they turn and face the attackers is probably the best size.
Jalen, I'll let you take this one. Libero plays back left. Is that because I think this was specific to BYU, but we get this question regardless of the team or coach. Is that because where most balls go, or because the player in the middle is a better defender? How do you answer that? I'm sure you've been asked that. Should my libero play left back or middle back?
I think just goes back to the concept that Heather talked about. We want to put our people where most balls go, and I'd like to think you put your best defenders where the balls go, just because if you're a better defender, you're going to dig a higher percentage of balls. And if more balls go over there, I probably want my better defenders to be over there. So I think it's kind of based on your team. Everyone talks about, sometimes outsides, if they play all the way around, they play middle back, so it's easier for them to hit. So that's kind of something you can look at. I think there's a plus minus, though, in terms of most balls get hit toward, if you find most balls get hit toward middle back, I would rather have a better defender back there than maybe necessarily an attacker, because if we're not digging a high percentage of those balls anyway, then we're not going to be doing much attacking anyway. So I think just it comes down to, hey, put your best defenders where the most of the volleyballs go.
Well
Dave,
said.
to answer some questions that I see in there, we do have tape. It's just a little piece of tape for our 2x2 where our kids straddle 2x2 just to get a visual of where we want them to be. Not a box for left back or right back. And then I think left back this isn't a middle or box answer, but left back is probably one of the more difficult positions to play because you are having to make a decision if you're going to stay in 2x2. Can the hitter hit to me? Am I staying here or am I moving to the corner? And I think maybe for high school or some levels in club, you're going to be moving to the corner more than you're going to be staying in 2x2 because there's not always the amount of hitters that can hit a sharp wrist away shot, a 4x4, and you still got left front able to dig. And so I think teams should consider how much and look at how much their left backs are actually moving and stepping to the corner to dig those balls when it's off the net. The set is high and off the net, and no one's going to go up and crush 2x2. I think left back defense can improve drastically if people start looking at can they hit to me or do I need to move to the corner?
Yeah, that perfectly addresses what Nick asked here. Back left corner seems to be biggest weakness for my team running a middle defense. How do we mitigate opponents scoring in that area?
Yeah, and another issue that you have in a middle defense, and they are staying in 2x2, is the crossing pattern and running into each other. And I always tell my players, like, when you start running into each other, we'll start addressing the problem, but like go for the ball and just trying to get on them. Like, hey, I'm not seeing you guys running into each other. I'm not seeing that all the time. But if you're in true middle, they're going to cross, in front of that left back defender. You could see middle there. Ronnie would cross in front of Mary, left back. Mary would get the deep ball. So Mary's stopped in 2x2 there because I'm sure that Texas or Florida attacker can hit there, but Mary's got to ask herself, can they hit to me? I don't know where this ball goes, Dave.
Neither do I, because this is just a screenshot only.
Mary dug it and left back. I remember.
Probably blocked it.
And I agree with Heather, like the overlapping, should I overlap before her? Should I go behind her? It's so situationally dependent. Just go.
Go for the ball.
If you guys continue getting concussions and you're out 3 months a year, then we got to figure it out. But until then, just pursue the ball and let's see what happens.
Okay, so question here. Could you expand a little more on 2x2? That's essentially where Mary, the BYU libero, is standing right now.
Yeah, just two steps from the sideline, right where those green lines connect in the corner, 2 steps on a 10-foot, 3-meter line, and 2 steps back is right around. And sometimes it's a 3x2. Sometimes it's 1 step deeper than 2x2 based off of what we're seeing or how we want to defend the quicks. Sometimes it's going to be 1 step deeper for 2x2.
Bob asks, do you have boxes for your wing defenders, left back, right back? How do you tell them where to start, essentially, if you're looking for a box type of thing?
Say that one more time.
He asks if you have boxes for your wing defenders.
Oh, no, we put a little piece of tape just for them to actually right between their legs where we want them to hover over and get a visual of the 2x2. And it helps them get back in transition as well. Hustle back, get in base, read the game, and be ready for the quick. We want to put our defenders where most balls get set up. And in order to dig the quick, we've got to be in this 2x2 position and then make our moves defensively from there based off what we're seeing from the setter and where she's distributing the ball.
We've actually had to use the box for our setters that want to creep up or start going to the sideline. We want them to be involved in defending those middles, and sometimes they're too sideline or they're overplaying the tip. So
absolutely
depends on the player. Yeah, our middle back, we didn't have to do it. They're seniors, and we get young ones, and
I think also, Ryan, we've got setters who are antsy to get another setter's dump, and you just sit there sometimes and you say, when was the last time their setter dumped? And it hasn't been a whole set or two, or the setter's not an active setter. And so we don't want to be up for the setter dump if, number one, the setter never dumps. And hey, maybe the setter beats us 1 or 2 times, and Lucas said we'll make an adjustment if it's going to beat us. But we don't want to get beat on the things that are going to happen the most, which are setting the quick and being able to read from our 2x2 spots, left back and right back, and dig to the line. So we're giving up being able to move and dig, like you see Lindy here, right back. If we're worried about a setter dump, that never happens. If it does, we can adjust.
So this video here is just a compilation of a bunch of screenshots. Every time a Florida left side attacker was hitting in system, I froze the screen, and you can see how good your left back, your right back, your middle back, your left front are at being in these right spots that you're talking about, kind of regardless of where the attacker is attacking from, regardless of the hole in the block, regardless if there's 1 blocker, 2 blockers. And so I really like this visual. It shows exactly what you're talking about. Another quick question. How far is that, or exactly where is that box? Just right in the very middle of the back half of the court, right?
Yeah, so in between the 3-meter line and the end line, and left sideline, right sideline is right where your red plus sign is. And again, there will be some teams that even in women's volleyball may take one step back, like Luca talked about. But the middle for us is right in the center of where that red line is. And, you've got to be able to, again, use all your skills. You've got to be able to chuck balls high. And that's something that we're constantly working on, is being able to know when a ball's coming at your face and be strong enough to grab a ball and throw it up there, and be able to play extended. We've got these levers for a reason. And so we want to be able to play extended and turn and run and be athletic and dynamic. And, we all can't have defenses like Jalen in Nebraska this year, but we're trying.
Jalen's looks like you're laughing, but you're on mute, so
All
we can't
the
hear
beach work
the.
they do.
We're just trying to make it out here,
Yeah.
But no, I guess for me, we agree with Heather. I think we do the box thing too. Our box is probably like maybe like half a step back, so it looks the same. We talk about that same overlap stuff. We have some rules for overlapping, but we echo Heather and Luca. What they said is, hey, let's dig the ball first and we'll talk about it later. We shouldn't be worried about that kind of stuff. And our box is maybe half a step back, as we talk about. We want to try to go forward and cut balls off. So it's all good things. And I like what Heather said about being able to be extended. We're not going to always put you where the ball is exactly going to go each and every time. We're going to try to put you where a lot of balls go. And then, you got to use your different, your range and your different ball handling skills to be able to dig all these different situations.
Okay, last question about kind of this defensive system. Ryan, if you could take this from Chris, is the line digger, I'll pull that screenshot up again, but is the line digger essentially middle depth as well? So I think he's talking about the right back defender against a go.
Yeah, they're going to be middle, but it's also, they're not standing foot right on the sideline either. As you look at all of Heather's teams there, they want to split the distance. If, we call it skinny lines or fat lines. And if they're going to hit that ball maybe into that 1-6 seam, they should have the ability to also step in, chuck it with their hands, play extended. I'm sure Heather, Nebraska, they're doing such a good job reading the hitters, stopped, balanced, and from that position we can dig high line, and they're able to dig and run through balls that are tipped or off the block.
Ryan, you can say it. My setter right there is out of position. It's okay. So
one, she got a little tight.
She's a little shallow. You're being nice to my girls. I appreciate it. But Chris, to answer your question, we do like her in line with middle. People just have a tendency to, or our setter, at least here, she don't want to get beat by a tip, and she knows she can pancake, but sometimes they get a little anxious, and we don't want their heads to get taken off at all, but we want them to do a right, left, right to the line, stay one arm's length off the line, and dig with whatever toolbox they see necessary.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for the questions.